So the conclusion to the left would be more properly drawn if it were specified that what? So we need some additional evidence to draw this conclusion. The documented optical illusion is that containers appear more voluminous, as in that means to say have more volume. They appear more voluminous the taller the containers are. Thus, an observer's approximation of the available volume in a short jar, pretend that looks like a jar, and is certain to be less than in a tall bottle. And no, I did not somehow measure the volumes of these things. So they're saying that this will look like less than this, even if that's not necessarily true. And it needs to not necessarily be true because otherwise it wouldn't be an optical illusion. So which one of these must be the thing? Are we assuming that the bottle is assumed to be less than the jars? Well, so if the illusion makes the tall one appear to have more volume than it does, and if we are assuming that the bottle's volume is assumed to be less, we wouldn't necessarily assume that the approximation of the jar would be less than the bottle. So what we're saying is that in reality, let's see, how do I put this? In reality, it's something other than this. So this is not reality. And it looks like what we're trying to do in the answer choices is come up with what the reality actually is. Choice A says that the bottle's volume is less than the jars. Now the reason this doesn't work is because the approximation of the volume is supposed to look like it of the short jar is supposed to be less. If the bottle's volume, the bottle's the tall thing, if it's actually greater, in theory, this optical illusion could also make them look like they're equal. So if it's less, but looks taller, but looks like it has more volume because it's bigger, it could look like that they were equal rather than that it was greater. So this one assumes a little bit too much beyond the scope of the actual argument. B, the bottle's volume is assumed to be the same as the jars. So that's saying that they're equal. And so if we're assuming that they are actually equal, the effect of the optical illusion would make it look like it's greater, which is the thing that we have here where it says not reality. So that looks really good. Let's just double check the other ones. C, the bottle's volume is assumed to be greater than the jars. Well, the optical illusion makes the bottle look bigger anyway. So why would we assume that it actually is greater? Then it's not an optical illusion. Then that's the real thing. So it's not C. D, observer's approximation of volume available is assumed to be more exact with jars than with bottles. We don't want to, and actually choice E looks like the same thing, we don't need or want the observer to be better at gauging one than the other because the whole optical illusion is about the two side by side. If the observer is really not as good at approximating one or the other, the effect of the optical illusion isn't as clear. So we can get rid of both of these and select answer choice B.